When I'm not feeling very intimidated by the fathers of my female high school students, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube. So let's get to it. +1 for Jack White, love the Racking Tours 2, Consolers of the Lonely, and Steady as She Goes are great songs. So if you could play any guitar from history, which one would it be? Clapton's Blackie, Hendrix's White Strat, or the Painted Monterey Strat, Peter Green's LP, or... So assuming that I can't have the double neck guitar that KG played in the Tenacious D Master Exploder music video, I'm gonna go with Jimmy Page's Les Paul. I'm not even a Les Paul guy, but I think, man, Jimmy Page is just awesome, and I think that Les Paul is just so iconic and historic, and almost all of what I consider, you know, like in my own personal rock journey, like it all comes back to that, man. Like just the magic that he had in writing that is fantastic. Also, special shout out to Satchel's Kramer Pacer from Steel Panther. I think there's just something awesome about that guitar, and I love Steel Panther, and I also regret not mentioning Steel Panther when I was talking about the greatest live shows I've ever been to, because I've seen Steel Panther a bunch of times, and they get better each time, and they're just like a rockin' band, and they're more than just a novelty. Those guys are awesome players. Love Steel Panther. So that's probably my... But aside from that, I actually hate touching expensive guitars, acoustic electric. It just causes sheer anxiety holding on to anything that's worth, like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. So I do try to avoid ever touching those because I don't want the responsibility on my shoulders of a super expensive guitar. But I'm going to pick Jimmy Page's Les Paul. New camera, quality looks a lot better. Well, thank you very much, but actually what happened was I broke the lens on my existing camera, the kit lens that comes with it. It's a Nikon D600 kit lens, and I snapped it. I swung it into the tripod, mistakenly, and the focus ring is just like stuck shut. And I was like, oh, this is no big deal. I'll just like look on YouTube for tutorial, take it apart, whatever. Disassembling a DSLR camera lens is essentially like stripping down like a car engine and rebuilding it from scratch. So right now we're rolling with the prime lens I have, which is a little trickier to use shooting wise because I have to back it up way back to get everything in focus right and get the frame right. But it does look a little better, so thanks for noticing. Here's a question. Anyone ever tell you that you resemble Neil Patrick Harris? Am I the only one who thinks this guy looks like Brandon Flowers? So PewDiePie plays guitar. So I have comprised a tally of my most frequent celebrity lookalikes on the comments here, and Neil Patrick Harris is in the resounding lead with 33 mentions by my count, followed closely by PewDiePie, who's up to 25 now, and Brandon Flowers is in third with 10. Meanwhile, tied for fourth are Paul Rudd and Chris Pratt with 4 each. And yeah, I guess I get the Neil Patrick Harris one a lot, though never in person. I think it's a video thing. I don't know, whatever you guys think. I'm always humbled by the celebrity comparisons. So, yeah, keep them coming, I guess. You look like a raggedy ass and less talented version of Neil Patrick Harris. Like, honestly looks like you made a mask skin detailed version of his face and forgot to measure it to the right shape of your head. And lo and behold, Sean Daniel was born. So I'm also going to count this as one of the Neil Patrick Harris mentions. I actually might count this double, so yeah. Actually, I think that one probably deserves a couple flame emojis right there. All right, 3-part question. Acoustic or electric? Single or humbucker? Bridge or neck? So these are all questions that have drastically different answers depending on the day. I would say right now, I'm in kind of more of an acoustic thing. You know, it's fall. The weather is getting colder. I think just the acoustic thing. My heart is yearning for like a Martin D35. So hopefully I can kind of get past this current obsession without spending a ton of money or just like selling a bunch of gear to make that happen. But I'm going acoustic right now. As far as single or humbucker, I mean, again, my soul is saying single coil pickups. But when I sit down to track stuff, a lot of times, unless I'm going for a certain Strat thing, I always end up going with like a humbucker, like the Ernie Ball. So I'm actually going to say humbucker at this moment in time. And then also bridge or neck. And this is something that probably for the first 10 years I played, I was always on the neck. 100% on the neck, always, without a doubt. I would not, every time I went to the bridge, it just sounded too thin and I didn't like it. And now I don't play on anything but the bridge. So I think that's just kind of an example of how your ears change over time. Like I seriously never ever played the bridge pickup on a guitar. But now I get it. I just, one day it's just like a switch flipped and now I'm always bridge. So I'm going to go bridge. 2-part question. When did you meet your first girlfriend? How? And how did you two bond? And related to that, can you play Blackbird? Man, my first girlfriend. So I was working at Blockbuster Video back when that was still a thing. And one of the regulars was this gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful girl that came in. And I guess we bonded over me hitting on her while she was just trying to make her way through Video Store. And that turned out terribly. Like what an interesting experience that was. I know a lot of douchebag guys are like, man, my ex-girlfriend was like so crazy, whatever. But yeah, she was definitely pretty interesting. She actually checked herself into an insane asylum. So that's like that literally happened. But yeah, that was how we bonded, and it was a very short-lived experience, but a very memorable experience nonetheless. As far as being able to play Blackbird, yes, I'm assuming you mean the Beatles' Blackbird, and I'm actually later this week I'm going to put up a video lesson of how to play Blackbird. I don't usually do a lot of like song tutorials, but I think Blackbird is a must-know song for every guitarist, especially anyone aspiring to get into like fingerstyle stuff. And I kind of have a unique way of teaching it that I think is a really good lesson in just kind of like memorizing song structure and stuff too. So stay tuned for the Blackbird lesson coming up. What is your opinion about Thom Yorke's work? Isn't he a living legend? All the best. So a lot of you probably know my affinity for Radiohead. Thom Yorke obviously being a critical component of that band. As far as what I think of his work, I mean, as a whole, if we're talking about his solo stuff too, I thought his last solo album was actually pretty good. And The Eraser, I thought had a couple good songs on it, solo-wise. But really, I'm not as into the electronic stuff or the Atoms for Peace stuff. But I mean, Radiohead, I'm just like a diehard fanboy. So at first, I think I was more of just like a Johnny Greenwood fan, and Thom Yorke kind of seemed like the pretentious lead singer guy. And then I guess that opinion hasn't really changed, but I think I've just grown to accept it a little bit more. And especially when King of Limbs came out, I feel like he put on such a great performance in King of Limbs, which I consider kind of like a subpar album by their standards, but I thought Thom Yorke really kind of brought his A game for that. And I think he's a singer that just kind of gets better with age. He just seems to sound better and better with each album, and he can kind of do a lot of different things. So he's a pretty versatile singer, actually, for like an alt band like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people kind of use the term like genius for Thom Yorke. I don't know if I would go that far, but I think he's definitely an underrated player, guitar and piano-wise, and I think he's just like a fantastic writer. So I am a huge Thom Yorke fan. Sticking with the Thom Yorke theme, I am never opposed to shouting out Radiohead in any form, so we're going with what I consider Radiohead's heaviest song, Myxomatosis, which is one of the top 3 songs ever about a deadly rabbit disease. So definitely check that out. Let me know what you think. And any comments or questions, please hit me up in the YouTube comments or Twitter or Instagram, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.